Stay up past your bedtime. Space is proud to sponsor the Midnight Madness program at the 2007 Toronto International Film Festival. At the Witching Hour, get your fill of shocking and rocking films. The Midnight Madness program at the 2007 Toronto International Film Festival, September 6th to 15th. Brought to you by Space.
One of the things that you've done throughout your movies is the social satire, in particular with your first movie touching on like the civil rights movement with the last character there, and here you also touched on race. Can you talk a little bit about that and what motivates you to do that?
You know, I'm not trying to preach or be, I'm trying to do snapshots of what I think is happening in North America now, and so that's really where it comes from. It's like Guillermo del Toro did The Voice talking about immigration, you know, which I thought was pertinent because there's this big controversy with that going on there. I touched on it here only because I thought, no, you know, these guys were just the survivalists, you know. I didn't think it was a particular statement here. In the original film, when we cast Dwayne Jones in that role, the role was written without a description of the color of his skin. And over the years, I've thought that maybe actually, we thought we were being very hip by not changing the script. Over the years, I've come to think, and Dwayne actually, when we were shooting it, thought we should put something in there about it. His point was that someone in a minority position will see certain things very clearly, and then anger will blind that person to certain other things. And his point, the point that he was trying to make, was that character makes a couple of mistakes, and out of anger. And that might have been an interesting thing to include. Other than that, I think it was just a reflection of the times. You know, it was 1968. We thought that, you know, we were 60s guys. We thought we'd sort of maybe done something to improve the world a little bit. And, you know, all that flower power and shit didn't amount to hill of beans. All of a sudden there's a new war and riots in the streets again and all that shit. And, you know, and the night that we finished that film, in Pittsburgh, finished it, completely printed it. We threw it in the trunk of the car, and this is the truth. The night that we were driving the first answer print of that film to New York was we heard on the radio in the car that Martin Luther King had been shot. So it was the time, you know, I mean, it was a reflection of the time, and I guess we didn't even realize then, you know, what that meant, what the fact that, you know, that Dwayne gets shot there by this redneck posse. And, you know, it had all these overtones that came into it after we had made the decision to do it. So I think we've been given, you know, maybe too much credit for doing too much with that.
Well, like even here you kind of talk about the looting, for instance, where one character, the lead actress, she makes a comment about they're looting, and then they say no, we're just
doing
trying to get by.
To do.
Right. I mean, I thought that was very prescient, you know, or just a good overall kind of spectrum in terms of like after the Katrina riot, people there were the two famous images.
Yeah. Well, that's the question, isn't it? I mean, you know, is it essential? And you know, I mean, you know, when the world goes nuts, you have to change your approach to things. And probably, you know, the people who get through it the best are the people that, you know, do address it or change their.
We should probably backtrack and check. We showed a film. Actually, this is the first time we've had you in person for Midnight Madness, but we had you on the screen before because a number of years we showed the amazing documentary by Adam Simon, American Nightmare.
Oh, American Nightmare.
Which addresses all the social commentary in horror films in the 1970s. It's a great piece of work. You can find it. It's out on DVD, American Nightmare. We have another question? Over on the side there, yes? The question was, because of the independence of the project, was there more freedom with what you could do with the special effects and the gore?
Well, it wasn't freedom. I mean, luckily, these guys here were able to pull it off. A lot of it was mechanical. We obviously had to use CG for some of it, because there was no actor that would let us, you know, melt his head. So, there were a few things that we had to do CG. And those guys, the guys at Spin, I don't know if they're here too, I've missed thanking them, but they did a sensation. So, I don't know, you know, it wasn't so much freedom. It's, what we did, I think, was we sort of didn't go in for, you know, product shots, if you know what I mean. We were trying to do it from the perspective of the cameras that they were using. And I think maybe that makes some of it a little stronger, because it's not like, you know, going in just for a close-up shot of the thing. But, you know, everybody just pulled the stuff off beautifully. So I didn't think that in fact, there's probably pound for pound a hell of a lot more gore stuff in Land of the Dead. But I think it's a bit more affecting when it's, you know, occasional. And it seems to matter more when it's sort of not all over the place.
Time for two more questions. Actually, you on the side there? Yes, stand up. Yo.
What would be your personal weapon of choice to dispatch the undead with?
What would your personal weapon of choice be to dispatch the undead with?
Very well phrased, sir.
Ah, boy, I don't know. You know, I guess the old shotgun seems to be the most effective.
Hey, I was wondering, you said in pre-interviews that you were thinking about making this for new media. I was wondering if you could talk more about that, or if you had a distribution platform in mind when you were in post-production.
No, in the very, very early days, I wanted to really do this film under the radar. I mean, I literally wanted to go back and try to do it for, you know, 250,000, 500,000, do it with friends. And at that point, I was thinking of, well, maybe I could do that if I could get a deal with a DVD company, or, you know. And that was just my first approach to it. But then when people started to read the script, they said, well, maybe we can do it theatrical. And so the discussions, you know, sort of, you know, that train left the station, and we started to think of it more as a traditional film. But I would still, you know, I would love to do something like that. You know, I'm fascinated with, we have a project that we're working on for cell phones, and, you know, I'm pretty interested in all that. Sort of a chance to make cartoons again or something.
So we'd like to...
low risk.
We'd really like to thank the zombies from the Toronto Zombie Walk.
Absolutely!
Excellent volunteers. Thank you so much, Taya Munster, for organizing all of the volunteer zombies. And also, while we're on the subject of blogging and stuff, there's the Toronto Film Festival. We have this year a Midnight Madness blog, which we actually posted up snippets from when you were at the Rue Moore convention. We're putting up stuff about Midnight Madness. And we will put up a post for anyone who's taking pictures. If you've got a Flickr gallery, which you put your pictures on, for anyone who's taking films. If you put up a YouTube, send us a link to that, and we will put that on our blog. So you can find that through the TIFF07.ca website. And I'd like to thank George A. Romero.